Hello everybody, welcome back. So, not done a video for a couple of weeks, so I thought it'd be a good idea to do a plot tour. So, let's get on with it. So for those of you that are new to the channel, my name's Jase, and this channel is about our journey to become more self-sufficient. So what we've got in front of me here are our early potatoes, and we've got them all growing in 40 litre pots and 4 seed potatoes in each pot. The ones closest to you, to the camera, are Charlotte earlies, and these ones towards me that aren't quite as tall are Lady Crystal. The reason these are not as tall is they're actually lower in the ground. There's a hole here and the buckets are in the hole. But what is interesting is the way that these potatoes are growing, and you can see the ones on this side here are much taller than the ones at this end, and the reason for that is that's south. So these potatoes at the front here are growing as high as they need to at the moment to get the sun, whereas these ones are having to stretch much further to get that sun and not be shaded by the ones at the front. So something to bear in mind. So here I've got marrowfat peas growing up the fence or up the shed, and I'm really pleased with them. They're doing really well. And we've even got some little pods forming now. Lots of flowers, as you can see. And I'm probably going to have to limit the growth of these ones in the middle to stop them going over the window, and then I'll maybe put some more netting or something either side of the window to let the ends carry on growing. So they're doing pretty good. The pots in front of me there are main crop potatoes, King Edward and Pink Fir Apple, and they're coming on not as fast as the earliest. These were planted probably a month later, so they'll be coming up pretty soon, I would think. And down here we've got beans coming on. These are French climbing beans. So we've got a tray there and another tray here. They'll be planted out soon on the bean frame. I've got a couple of spare lettuce that really need a home, and a spare kale which is looking a bit weak now, used up all the nutrients in that pot, so it either needs planting out or potting on. And then we've got some more lettuce coming on in this tray, and we've got these beetroot which again need planting out. As we go around the garden you'll see I've got a lot of work to do over the next weekend to get everything potted on, planted out, weeded, etc. I've got a lot to do. And then we've got a couple of trays of marigolds here coming on, and in the cold frame behind me we've also got some celery and celeriac. So in here we've got calabrese. These are calabrese sown from seed in February into trays, pricked out into pots and then planted out. There's quite a lot of weeds in here at the moment. I need to get this done. There's also a few volunteer potatoes growing from last year, which have got to be sorted out. Further along, we've got kohlrabi and chard, and then at the very end is pak choi, which has bolted and gone to seed, and you can see the yellow flowers there. And so in the net on the other side, we've got kale and spinach coming along. Then in the centre section, we've got red cabbage. In here should be cauliflower. There's a few survived, but not many. And the slugs have done their burst on these. But I do have spares to put in at the weekend. And then in here we have more calabrese. These were the first to be planted out, and therefore they're quite a bit bigger. So that's what's in the polyframe area in the two nets either side. And then down the middle here we've got Solent white garlic, which is coming on a treat. Now in this bed, up to about this point, is all onion, and that is all Elsa Craig, and sown from seed end of January into trays and then directly into the ground, no potting on. And they were a bit slow to take hold, but they have, and they're coming on alright. This area is still pretty clear. I might put the beetroot out in here. In this section in front of me, on this bed, are King Edward main crop potatoes, and they really need earthing up, which is something I need to do. And here we've got pink fir apple, again a main crop. So this whole bed is potatoes. Now the rhubarb this year has been fantastic, and there's still a lot there. We've got the same plant at that end of the bed as well, and we must have had about 4 pickings by now, and there's still some really big stalks there, and a lot of new growth still coming. So we're going to be having rhubarb for a bit yet. And this is just an old plant that I found in another part of the garden, and I just planted it here for a season, let it get going, and then divided the crown and put half of it at the other end of the bed. And this year they've just really taken off. I find a bit of farmyard manure around them in the spring really helps. So got broad beans in here. These ones were started off in pots, as were most of those ones, except for the big one with flowers on the right hand side there. And that's because that one was planted direct. I planted all these beds direct, and only that one survived. I think the others got found by mice, hence I started them again in pots. On the netting there we've got Mange 2 peas growing. So these are 2 pallet collar raised beds that I've put onions in, and a couple of lettuce at the front there as well. Now the bed closest to us, that's got stir-on onions sown from sets back in March, and the bed next to it a red baron, again from sets and put in March. So in the first concrete raised bed we've got carrots, and you can see the bigger ones there on the left are ones I sowed in March, I think, back end of March, direct. Poor germination, not very many have come up. And then straight view there we've got the next sowings appearing. It needs a good weed. And we've got radishes here. A red radish called Vienna and a white radish called Icicle. Parsnips so far this year, total disaster. There are a couple coming up in there, but I'm going to have a rethink and a re-sow, I think. And then in these two beds we've got leeks, and slow to get established, but they are now starting to come on. And in here we've got a mixture of iceberg and mixed salad leaves. And then for the rule of 10 garden challenge, we've got this bed, 10 square feet. We've got early potatoes, lettuce, leeks, spring onion, 1 to 2 peas, and I've got a butternut squash coming up down here. Don't think there's one there yet. But the idea is a minimum of 10 crops, 10 square feet, 10 months. How much food can you grow? Okay, in the greenhouse we've got the tomatoes. So these are all, what are they? Red cherry. So these were sown from seed March, and they need potting on and planting out now. They are starting to pale a little bit, so that's an indication that they're running out of nutrients in these pots. Same with these. These are Crimson Crush, and we've got Tumbling Tom in there as well. So quite a lot of tomatoes to deal with. We've got peppers, absolute disaster this year. That's the best one that I've got, and I think it's going to be the only one that gets anywhere. That's a sweet pepper, California Wonder. The chilies, well, yeah, a write-off this year. Cucumbers, they're coming on. These were looking really sick last week or the week before, and I potted them on, and they've suddenly grown and greened up, so they're going to get put in pots in here. So there's going to be lots of videos coming up with me getting all of this stuff done over the next week or two. So there we are, that's what we've got growing in our garden at the moment. More to come, a lot of work to do, as you've seen in the tour, what with weeding, potting on, planting out, but a good start. It isn't the end of May yet, so still time. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.